This is Rising Phoenix Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Rhodes. This podcast is for men struggling with an unwanted divorce. I interview experts on divorce, mental health, and I provide insights gained from my own divorce journey. You are not alone. Join me. Hello, and welcome to the show. This is episode 192. This is a solo one, so let's jump right into this and list the new locations. First up, Oxford, Mississippi. You listened to 191, which was Healing from Trauma with combat veteran Cole Grace. That one was recorded more recently than some of these others that you're going to hear, but I really enjoyed my conversation with Cole and thought that that one was pretty impactful and wanted to get it out as soon as I could. So thank you to Cole for recording with me. Next up on the list, Delhi, California, episode 195, which is Embraced and Reframe. I just think that's an important skill that you need to cultivate during this journey. Next up, Turin or Torino, I guess, in Italy. You listened to episode 191 as well. And finally, Dudley, Massachusetts. You listened to episode 68, Why Are Men So Lonely? Man, I can't believe that one was so fucking long ago. 168 or 68. Shit. Seems like I recorded that one like 6 months ago. Um, fuck. Anyway, yeah, so in this episode, I'm going to cover a few different things. But before I do that, I want to cover what is prominent in out and I would say all, but maybe some of you are fortunate enough to not spend a lot of time watching, reading news, or spending time on social media. But obviously, this is not a political show. I have largely um, shied away or steered away, or certainly intentionally didn't and haven't brought up politics. And that's not going to change. But I do feel compelled to at least say a few words about recent events. And I'm not going to go into my thoughts on it or anything of that nature. Obviously, well, I guess what I'll say is obviously anybody that loses their life in that manner is fucking terrible and heartbreaking and disturbing and if you haven't seen the footage, I highly recommend you do not do that. There's a reason I don't talk politics, and it's and I have very, very, very strong political views. I am very opinionated. I have um, I used to be very, very political, and then the divorce happened, and my priorities shifted. And it's just in terms of like talking about it and posting about it on social media, and I don't do any of that anymore because um, for a lot of reasons, but obviously my divorce became a bigger focus in my life. And I also, once I got to a certain point, I realized a few things. One, um, you're not going to convince me via a Facebook post, and I'm not going to convince you, right, to change your mind on things. And that's good and bad, but that's just for me, it was just factual. I figured I'm not changing anyone's mind, and no one's changing mine. And again, there is some negativity to that because I think we all should be open to changing our minds. But just in a general way of viewing, talking about politics via social media, I found it to be a waste of time. And then I started this podcast, and I decided if people, because we are so fucking polarized in this country when it comes to politics, to the point where if people uh, don't like certain fucking shoes and beer and restaurants, and it's gotten fucking ridiculous in this country to the point where we're killing each other over our opinions. And the only thing the only point I really want to make, and again, I have personal opinions and views, and I could go on and on about this, but you're not here for that. And I understand that. And I'm not trying to make this political at all. But what I do want to say is I want to echo what the governor from Utah said. Social media is a fucking cancer. Get off. and I want to extrapolate a little bit. I promise you this is going to be long. I'm going to wrap this up in probably about 45 seconds, give or take. Social media is absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that fucking statement. It is designed not only social media but the news. Turn off the fucking news. Stop watching people telling you what you should think about the news. Read the news. Try to find, and this is across the fucking board, try to find unbiased sources, because these motherfuckers, all of them have an agenda. And that agenda is to either, well, it's basically to get your eyeballs on their fucking screen, but that's either through outrage or disgust or hatred or whatever it is. And they're pitting us against each other, and it's causing people to fucking kill people. So this is not a political show, clearly, and I don't want it to be ever, because I don't want people to know what my politics are and then decide that they don't want help from me because of that. And I think that's fucking stupid, but that's the fucking world we live in. So that's all I'm going to say on this is stop fucking watching the news. Stop watching people that have an agenda to either piss you off or disgust you or make you hate other fucking people. We have enough fucking difficulties in this world. It's not going to make it any better if we're fucking hating each other going through it. So that's all. I'm very scared for where we are as a country and where we're headed. And I feel compelled to at least say that part. So on to the meat of the episode, if you will. I want to talk about something that I hear and see a lot, and that is two things: healing and forgiveness. And there's this myth around both of those things. I think mainly, well, probably both of them, but I feel like healing is a little bit more of this. Like you get to a place, it's a place of an arrival. It's this idea that's sold to you. It's usually by people that tell you, buy my program, I'll teach you how to date, all these kinds of fucking bullshit things. And I'm not saying there aren't good things out there, but it's people giving, again, an agenda of trying to sell you something, and they'll get you there, right? They'll teach you how to date to get back on the horse and find your worth again, as if your worth should fucking come from somebody else. That's a whole other conversation. But it's not a destination, it's a continuum. Healing and forgiveness, both, while different, are very, very similar, and they are not a point of arrival. They just are not. That doesn't mean you can't have a feeling of forgiveness or feeling of healing on a particular day. You can, absolutely. But some shit will come along and make you think you haven't gotten to the point of being healed or haven't forgiven. And by the way, you don't have to forgive. That's your fucking choice. Studies show, I've interviewed people. Well, one of them said that you don't have to forgive. That her point was, when you aim for forgiveness, that can make you feel like a failure, essentially. And so it's not something that you need to aim for. But that healing is a byproduct. Like once you heal to a certain level or whatever, that you do start forgiving. But I really want to focus right now on healing and how I view it and what I think of it as. And then I'm gonna, after I get through some of these things, I'm gonna talk about tie it into my life as I try to do with these things. I look at healing as like, the painful moments are like fucking waves in the ocean. And some days, those waves, I don't know if you've ever swam in the ocean, but I have. And sometimes, at least for me, I fucking misjudge something, and then bam, it fucking slams me into the fucking bottom of the fucking ocean. Once you is at least for me, like there's been times where I'm, again, misjudging things, I'm not paying attention, and next thing you know, as you're trying to get out past the break, you're getting slammed in the fucking ocean. It's happened to me, at least. The ocean fucking it's fucking scary. Riptides and all that kind of shit. Anyway, and so that's what healing is like, and it is like that, where you're not paying attention, and then bam, a wave hits you, and you're not part of the challenge or the mission of this journey is to figure out what those waves represent. Like, where did that wave come from? and why did it hit me? So you can figure out what you still are working on healing. But they don't ever stop, I don't think. And again, I'm going to tell a story here a little bit later to sort of reinforce this point. So, but they do absolutely. The seas calm, the waves aren't as fierce or frequent, and you can have a life where everything feels calm and peaceful, but the waves are still going to come. How you can navigate them, the frequency of them, like I said, those things I think do stretch out. And yes, time is a factor, but it's more the healing work that's done. Because I've seen guys in the Divorce Support for Men group that are still 4 or 5 years out and they're still talking as if they are on day, maybe not day one, but I don't know, day 120. And so it's not just time. It's more about the work that you put in. For me, I'm going to shift to forgiveness. So when I think of forgiveness, I just started thinking about like how, and I want to reiterate, you don't need to forgive. It's just, in my view, beneficial because I think what it allows for you is to let go a little bit more and move on with your life because you're not looking back and thinking about all the shit that she has caused. So for me, forgiveness is absolutely necessary. And there's episodes on this and what it means. And I think it's a little bit different to everybody, but to me, forgiveness is being able to stop focusing on the past, not forgetting, not blessing what they did, approving what they did, just moving forward and looking forward. And I liken this to the growth of a tree. If you think about, I don't know if you've ever had I think in some ways privilege of planting a small tree and watching it grow. When you first get it, it needs I don't know what the fuck they call those things, but the little stabilizers, the little the strings you tie or whatever. So it stabilizes it. It keeps it up because it's not very strong. That forgiveness is not very strong in the beginning. It can be blown over with a very moderate wind. Right? There's no. It's not a full grown tree. It's not fully, I don't want to say fully forgiving because again, I think that strong winds will come. So, but as time goes on and you learn and this is, I think this is not something you need to do maybe even a year or 2 or 3. I don't think I started looking at forgiveness probably till like maybe year 3. I don't know. But eventually, when I did, I planted that tree of forgiveness and it was wobbly and it was shaky and the wind would blow and I'd be like, fuck her and fuck this. And I'm not forgiving any fucking thing. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Forgiveness is acceptance and approval. I'm not fucking doing it. And then you start to heal and you go, okay, maybe forgiveness does lead to me moving forward without the anchor of her. And so as your forgiveness strengthens, your tree grows, you can sustain a bit more wind, a bit more pain, a bit more hurt, a bit more bullshit that won't knock your forgiveness over because it's strengthened. But sometimes hurricanes blow the fuck through, and your forgiveness can only be so strong. And that's okay. But my point to all of this is you're never going to arrive anywhere. It's always on a continuum, and that's okay. That the important part is that you are able to figure out that, oh, I'm in pain right now over this. I'm not feeling healed right now. What do I need to do? What can soothe me to get me to a good place so I can move on and go about my fucking day because I got shit to do. I got a job. Well, for me, I got a podcast. I got kids. I got dinner. I got dishes. I got fucking yard work when it's that time of year. I mean, on and on and on, right? I got shit I got to do. I can't be sitting around wringing my hands over what she has done to me in my life. So it's okay to realize this. It's advantageous to you to understand that you're never going to get to a point where this doesn't ever hurt at times. And when those times come, it's important to have sort of anchors in reality. This is what Cole talked about in terms of journaling. I think and affirmations and gratitude and all that kind of stuff, that those are anchors in reality. There's also support groups and peers that are like the Discord server. When you're going through it, and you can reach out and people can help soothe you to get you to a better place. Um, Logical thinking. When you're able to get into logical thinking brain, you can remind yourself that you have made progress, or um, it is better for you mentally to be in a state of forgiveness. Again, I want to emphasize, you don't have to get to forgiveness. I think it has helped me in my journey, but it's a tricky thing to even to say it and to try and describe it in a way that will make you feel like it's not the kind of forgiveness that um when people would say that to me early on, I'd be like, forgiveness means acceptance, and fuck that. And it doesn't. Anyway, again, that's another um subject for another day. But there's episodes on forgiveness. So but I want to shift now to talk a little bit about putting this into practice. So this past weekend, my youngest daughter, she's into hobby horsing. I don't know if you know what this is, but she's 11, and it's like track and field, but with a stick in your hand that has a horse, stuffed horse's head, not like a not like a real horse's head. Although some of them look pretty fucking realistic. A stuffed animal horse's head on the end of the stick. It's like she's riding a horse, but it's a stick. I know it sounds silly, it looks silly, but she loves it. Anyway, I took her to an event slash competition. My little one is very shy. She's a bit introverted. She's a bit anxious. She's the sweetest kid. Um, and I wasn't sure if she was gonna even go, and it was sort of like touch and go. And then she was like, "Yes, I'll go." Then it was, "No, I don't want to go," because she felt all this pressure and anxiety because she had to pick, like, what events do you want? I was trying not to put pressure on her, but she felt it and she backed out. But I didn't cancel anything. I just went forward and assumed we were going to go. We had time. Anyway, we make it to this event, and she did amazing. She didn't place or finish in the top. She didn't like get any ribbons or anything, but she competed. She didn't quit or fall or knock any jumps over. Like, she jumped these things. She ran the courses. She did amazing. She was excellent, awesome. The last event, she made it in the top 8. I was so I don't have the fucking words to describe how proud I was of her. Not because she did this these things. It was because she did them in the face of fear, in the face of anxiety, in the face of um yeah, just never doing things like this. And I was so proud. I am so proud. I can't there aren't words for me to properly uh describe it. Um but that's not the point of the story. Although I love telling it, that part of it, because I'm so proud. But it's more about the fact that I spent that whole day. We got it was my weekend. I left for It was about an hour drive away from my house. I left first with my little one, and then because my oldest is in marching band and she had a football game, she was out late Friday. I think, was it an away game, or maybe it was a home game, but she was out late. Um, I think by the time she got home it was maybe 10:30 at night or something of that nature. And so I was like, "Listen, why don't you just sleep in tomorrow, and your mother can stop by the house, pick you up, and bring you, because she doesn't need to be there early." I wanted to get there early so my little one could spend time running around the course and getting comfortable. And all by the way, my little one she made friends and she was talking to people, and it was just, again, I, my heart is so goddamn full because of that event. Um, but my ex was there the whole from like I think she got there around 10 a.m., which is when it was supposed to start. It really didn't. It was very lax, and I don't think it actually started till like 10:15, 10:20. And then her first event wasn't the first event. It was like the third one or something like that. Anyway, I spent the whole day, besides one sort of break-ish where my oldest and I went for a little drive so we could go get some suntan lotion because that's the one thing I forgot. So I got some decent sun on Saturday. Um, but beyond that, I was there with her from 10 a.m. until I think she left around 3 p.m. I think so. A good 5 hours, maybe four and a half, maybe five and a half. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was all day. We sat as a family, quote unquote, which is weird to say, obviously, but we are in a way. And I had no. I even bought her lunch because I ordered lunch. It was my weekend, so I felt obligated to buy the girls lunch. I would have probably bought them lunch anyway. So I was like, "Hey, do you want anything?" And I ordered some Uber Eats and had it delivered to the event for us. So that is the healed part of me. That is the part of me that forgives her for her stu fucking pitity, right? And then fast forward to just this evening. I took my oldest is 16 and she is in a few days going for her driver's test. Fucking fingers crossed. Y'all know I'm not a religious man, so I don't know that I'm going to pray, but maybe. But if you want to pray for my daughter to pass and get her license, feel free to do that. If it helps, that's cool. But my point of telling this is when I took her out, I haven't been taking her out much, and so the car that my oldest daughter has is her grandparents' car, which is I'm sorry, her great grandparents' car, who passed away recently, so she got their old car. But it's a decent car. It's set for a while, so it doesn't have a lot of miles on it. It's a Chevy Cruze, I think. I'm not sure. It's not. I have nothing to do with it. It's in my ex-wife's name, I think. It's not in my name. This much I know. And so I kind of felt, I have a truck, but my oldest doesn't love driving my truck. She has, but as she started driving her own vehicle, and mine in comparison, she's like, I really just want to practice in mine. I'm like, that's fair because you're going to take the test in yours. But that being said, it's her mother's vehicle. It's in her mother's name. At least I think so. It's again not mine. So getting to practice was a bit of it was a logistical pain in the ass. And so I haven't taken her out too much. Took her out in my truck. I did take her out in her car a bit, and she did pretty well. But I never took her parallel parking. And I did tonight, and she didn't do too bad. But I'm not sure how strict they are in terms of how far away from the curb. Now, to me, if she was everything, we went out and there's a little practice spot where the DMV has where you take the test at, and she did a bunch of go arounds. And to me, if she was parking in a city, it would have been perfectly acceptable. She might have been 2 feet away from the curb, but it seemed okay to me. I mean, I've parallel parked a lot in my day, and I think 2 feet's about acceptable. Obviously, closer is better. But then I read the guidelines and I was like, oh shit, you need to be 12 inches. And she got it at least once we started paying attention to her distance away. She was getting it inside the area. I know this is a bit long, but I'm getting to the point. But as we're doing this and we're practicing and she's not quite hitting the mark, and I'm thinking, I started to have a wave maybe, or a strong wind came, and I think it's more a wind than a wave. And I was like, I was not in a forgiving state of mind because I was like, if she wouldn't have left, I would have been the one taking her out all the time. I would have been the one working with her. I kind of felt a bit like it wasn't, not that it wasn't my place, but it wasn't my car. And I don't know. There was a moment where I was like, I I dropped the ball in some ways, but it was because of the circumstance. Now I got over it pretty quickly and thought, well, I have a couple days. She is doing well. I think she'll be okay. I don't know how strict they are with the parallel parking. Everything else, she's done great. I've taken her out. I've gotten her on the interstate. I've gotten her on highways, merging. She's done pretty well. So, but that moment where I felt like, fuck, I should have been more involved. And then my brain goes, well, yeah, you couldn't really be as involved as you would have been if she wouldn't have fucking left. So the wind picked up, so to speak, and my forgiveness tree, if you will, it had a little lean to it. But then I ultimately got back into my logical brain and said, it is what it is. All we can do now is just go forward and try and work with her in the next few days that we got. I think she'll be okay, and I'm hopeful, but it just goes to show you that there is no end point. There is no arrival for this stuff because life and events will smack you in the face and remind you of what has occurred. Now, it didn't last long, this quote unquote wind, but it did hit me, but I was able to fend it off, so to speak, and get back into logical brain and think about and worry about what was important or what is important. And after 6 years, focusing on what she has done is not what was important. What is important is making sure, to the best of my abilities, to get my daughter ready to pass her test. Because, like many of us, when she has setbacks, she gets pretty upset. And so I'm very, very hopeful that she can pull it off later this week. So I think that's all I got on this one. One last point. I have started the newsletter, and it is going out. And it's just at this point, it's just hey, the episode is out, and it's a link to it. I think that's all that it is. I haven't done it. It's just it does come out weekly, but it's just about here's the episode. When you sign up, there is a series of emails that you get that just talks about why I started this, and those kinds of things. I think there are 3 emails in total that you get just to sort of introduce me and the show and all that kind of stuff, and then you just get them weekly. If you do sign up, you can opt out anytime. I think if you go to risingphoenixpodcast.com/connect, I think. Or at least if you just go to the main page and find the connect in the top, I think when you click on that, then you get to the newsletter sign up. I hope I can get to the point where I'm putting more stuff, or maybe not more, but more or different. Maybe more is not the right word. I don't want to send out quantities of fucking newsletters like all the time. I don't want to. That shit's annoying to me, so I don't want to annoy the shit out of anyone else. So, but I would like to have like behind the scenes type stuff or things of that nature. But I don't know when the fuck that will happen. I didn't even think I was going to start the newsletter, and well, here I am. So, but if you get annoyed by it, you can unsubscribe. I don't honestly. I started it, set it up. I added some people to the list that signed up to the Facebook group, and I got it going, and I haven't really looked at it since. So that's all I got. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. If you are feeling alone on this journey, please join our Discord server. Becoming a Phoenix is not a solitary act. It is one achieved through community. Our Discord server is just that, a community of men fighting to survive, thrive, and rise from their divorce. Go to risingphoenixpodcast.com/Discord for information on how to join and what is contained in our Discord server. Please join us.